Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today's video is a market update on the cryptocurrency and Bitcoin bounce back that we've seen over the last 24 hours. We've been talking about this on the channel and looking at potential areas for bounces and then what we need to see next in order for the market to regain some strength and push towards those highs again. Now, we've covered this and where we believe we're sitting in the cycle for 2021. We'll update it again for people joining us. If you are, make sure you smash that like button so you can follow the financial journey here on the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, bell notification icon. Let's crack on with the news updates, the charts as always to show us where we are currently sitting in this market. And we'll update the fear and greed plan because we are still buying major blue chip cryptocurrencies. But first, a quick word from our sponsors today, I Trust Capital. If you're looking to invest your retirement funds into cryptocurrency while the market is down, US guys, check out I Trust Capital. There's a link in the description. That'll give you $100 of funding credit. For the Aussies, you can check out New Brighton Capital to get your retirement funds into crypto as well. $150 of free credit when you use Pizzino and go through completing your SMSF application. Be sure to use the links in the description to get the funding bonuses. All right, let's have a look at the first piece of news. The main thing that has been hitting the headlines time and time again, which you may be sick of hearing about, is the Fed meeting coming up. So there is still hawkishness from investors. We've seen this before, but it is possible that some or most of this news has been now priced into the markets. The markets don't tend to wait until something happens. If they know something is coming up, and like we've seen already that the Fed is looking to increase the rates potentially in March, then that is going to be priced into the markets now because they already know the news. Why would you wait until the event actually happens? Investors expect the Fed to signal on Wednesday that it plans to raise rates in March, tightening monetary policy. So if you already know that, you're probably going to see this priced into the market. This happens time and time again. The other thing we've covered on the channel is that we have a midterm election coming up at the end of the year. And historically, these midterm elections haven't been that good for the market. There's usually turbulence in the year. That's not to say that we're going to crash into a bear market, but there is turbulence in the year. We're going to have a lot of churn and choppiness leading towards that midterm election. The 18.6 year cycle is what we are tracking here. Now, it started at around 2012, bottom of the land cycle, not the stock market. We've gone through the 7 years, we've gone up. We had the mid-cycle correction on time around that 2020 date. So it was late 2019, early 2020 is where we were looking for a top. That has come in. Now 2022 is a bit of a churn chop year on the way out of these corrections, recessions type of lows. And on the way up, we got around 2023, 2024, and these last couple of years, 2025, 2026, potentially into early 2027. Of course, this is a long way out, but we are still early in this stage of the game. Now, I've been following this for the entire cycle. It's been working out very well. There's a lot more detail on it, and we'll talk about it more on the channel as well. But that's just to give you an update of where we currently sit. So when we do get the buy the dip opportunities like we've currently seen for the stock market, then we know that we're still in a macro bull market, although there are always corrections along the way. In terms of cryptocurrency, we just saw some inflows increase into the market. Over the last 5 weeks, there was outflows. We saw our first week within the last 6 to get more money coming into the market than going out. So digital asset investment products saw inflows totaling 14.4 million last week, breaking the 5-week run of outflows. So potentially this is just leading towards that intermediate bottom, at least for the majors in the cryptocurrency space. The inflows came later this week during a period of significant price weakness. So we saw extreme fear in the market, which we'll also cover as well, suggesting investors at current price levels are seeing this as a buying opportunity. So regardless of whether the market goes down a little further, the reward to risk is looking a little better for many investors now that we've come off those highs of 69,000 for Bitcoin, 4,800 for Ethereum, and we're over 50% down at this point in time. Don't forget about the wall of worry when we are investing, looking to buy the dip in the macro bull market. This tweet, which is now coming up to 4 years old, highlights all of the times that fund managers have talked about the market having to crash at that point in time due to dips. Everything has been said over that point in time. So if you're new to the market, just know that while you're in a macro bull market, which is why we cover the 18-year cycle here to know for the long term, you're always going to see a lot of bad news coming through, and that is going to spook the market, and the market will look for corrections. Smart, professional investors will probably most likely be buying those dips, because you can see from history that over the long term, the market's going up. The buy the dip opportunities arise, and we just need to know approximately where those lows are coming in. Talking about lows, the NASDAQ has timed perfectly to the GAN 50% level from the September lows that we saw in 2020. So I'm picking that because this is one big range before the first correction. So that's why I'm choosing this correction low to look at. And we've been covering this on the channel. This 50% has been sitting here for days, if not weeks, just from when we came in from this top. Market is now down 18%. And like we covered, the last times we've seen anything this major, we saw a 23% in 2018. And then, of course, the flash crash in 2020, where it dropped 30%. But generally speaking, the market's dropping off 10 to 20%. So this could be a good opportunity for a significant low, maybe not the final low, but at least a low that will support the market for the coming days to potentially weeks. Now, I'm choosing my words carefully because, again, I don't know. No one knows what is going to go on, but we're just using the probabilities that this is looking more likely as a potential short-term low for now. Same goes for the S&P. It's also bounced. You can see some support levels, some resistance. The 50% is further down, so the S&P is doing much better than the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is mostly, well, it's all tech stocks, and we notice that at the moment, at least, crypto is correlated, majors in crypto, Bitcoin, probably Ethereum as well now, is correlated to the NASDAQ. So we're keeping track of that as well. So you can see the bounce here. S&P also found a bounce. It's now up from these lows from around 4,200, sitting at around 4,400. The Dow also same sort of thing. The next big question on investors' mind is this going to be a V-shaped recovery? Now, my view of the market may be different to yours, but I see the first quarter, potentially second quarter, being kind of choppy. So we'll probably see a nice bounce, but if we don't get that higher low and a further break to the upside where it takes out the previous high, then that is going to spook a lot of investors, and we could churn around for a bit and continue down before we start to climb our way out in early quarter two, maybe quarter three, but I think by quarter four, we'll probably see some sort of upside. That's just what I'm seeing very, very early on. It's hard to tell, but that's the way I need to have a forecast for myself for the market so I can see how I'm investing. But you can see these are down 10%, whereas the NASDAQ was 18% off. As for Bitcoin, it's also down quite a bit from the top, but currently the good news is that we have bounced. So from the low up about 11% or so. You can see on the day it's only 1%, just getting a little bit of a cool off. Now the big number that we're looking at here was $36,000. The good news, at least for the short term, we had the close on the 21st above 36, and we're calling 36 a big number because it's the major range, the major 50% range from the all-time high to the cycle low. The next day was under, but we bounced above it. So nice close above. And then yesterday had that extreme fear, but you can see we got a solid bounce out of that low as well. So I was looking for a potential low to form yesterday, and sure, the exact number was slightly lower, but you can see the close was much stronger. So this is still the low area. And today, again, attempting to break down from this 36. I think maybe we'll see it. Maybe we'll see some more strength, some support come in here. And the next number then to attempt is 38,000. For the fear and greed plan, hit 12. So it did drop lower than yesterday, even though the close was much, much stronger. That means we are buying again on the fear and greed plan. You can see this is the 25th, 36,687. Current profit about $500. This is just a long-term dollar cost averaging plan, looking at the fear and greed. And if you're interested about learning more about investing in crypto and overall with the cycles, check out the links at the top of the description for Patreon and Premium for the trading courses over there. As for ETH, it's having a little bit of a harder time than Bitcoin. It's closing underneath this major 50% level, but you can see a lot of volume is coming in. The ranges are getting shorter, which means there is more money coming in to buy up any of that loose ETH floating around out there. But when you get these big days down, that's pretty much everyone is looking to sell and then look for where a bottom's coming in. So this at the moment, like we talked about yesterday, is attempting to form a bottom. Again, just repeating myself that the market has dropped, but then it continues to recover. You're getting some higher closes, even though intraday the market is dropping lower. Now, these are the areas that I'm looking to buy, and I have been buying ETH in my retirement fund. So again, the links are in the top of the description for the sponsors, New Brighton Capital and US guys, I Trust Capital. ETH is the major cryptocurrency that I'm buying in my retirement fund. I've been buying on the way down, the 4K, the 3K, and I'm looking to get a little more, probably around these levels. I'm not sure we'll get to 2K very quickly, but I think over this first half of 2022, we could see a lot of retail action just wane from the market, and maybe we'll get a drop off at that point and maybe come back and test these lower levels before we head up later in the year. It does look like the market is trying to put in a low here. Whether we shoot to new all-time highs from this point is to be seen. I'm leaning towards not. I think it's going to take quite some time to get back above these levels, especially after we've broken down underneath major levels set back in September. And of course, if we break down from these lows, it's going to be even longer. So I'm not betting on the fact that we're going to go up in a V-shaped recovery, but I think this will sucker a lot of retail in at this point, and then maybe we start to head back down into some lower prices, and that's when we'll see retail basically leave the market and get very quiet. That's the time that I'm looking to buy more. Make sure you've liked and subscribed with that bell notification icon so we can catch up in the next video. Thanks again, guys. Till then, have more fun to get more done.